Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. I'm going to put us into the mode of screen sharing. Rama, can you just confirm that you see that on the screen? Sorry, everyone. Just want to make sure we've got the technology up and running before I move on. My technical assist is absent. Let's see. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I'm really excited to talk about this topic. We are talking about timeline jumping. This is a webinar to help you finally leap into the new life that you love. My name is Gina, otherwise also known as Radha from some of you, and I'll be your host today. I've been studying with Dr. Pillai for over 14 years, and I'm really honored to pass along this information, especially what I've been learning from Dr. Pillai for the past 6 months or so on the topic of timeline jumping. He has been incredibly excited about this, and I have had the honor of being in his presence as he worked on this program for months and months. He literally did research and practiced different types of meditation techniques. He practiced on those around him to see what techniques were working most effectively. So he really did his due diligence with this program, and I've just been super pleased to be part of it and so happy to pass this on. So what we're going to learn today is 5 specific techniques that Dr. Pillai has taught on how to timeline jump. So as I mentioned, for the past, really since the beginning of this year, he's been immersed in this topic. And we've been really able to boil it down to around 5 core teachings. And what we'll do today is go through those teachings so that you walk away with value. First, we'll focus on planetary influence, how the planets affect your everyday life and how to use the energy to your advantage. How you want to powerfully create your everyday. How to accelerate time. Imagine if you could have what you want now as opposed to waiting 2 months, 3 months, a year. We're going to curb or break unwanted habits. Those habits are what feed our current timeline, creating the destiny that we really don't want to continue. And being in the now. You've heard this term many times before. We're going to look at it from a different angle and, of course, give Dr. Pillai's special, unique touch. So before I jump into the actual content, let's get familiar with what timeline jumping is and why we actually want to do it. So have you ever felt as if you have no control over your circumstances in life? Things are just happening. You are stuck. You have no control over your relationships, your health, your wealth, your spiritual progress. Everything just seems like it's not going in the direction you want it to go. Like no matter what you do, it all ends up in the same situation, and life just feels like it's happening. Well, unfortunately, you're not alone. I'm with you there too, because that's what happens when we get stuck in patterns and mindsets. Dr. Pillai specializes in the ability to break those patterns and mindsets on very deep levels. And that is why he created this timeline jumping course and the teachings that I'm going to share today. As you know, Dr. Pillai's passion is to help people change their destinies and create the life you want now. He has said many times that his city power or his magical power is not to, manifest things out of thin air, but to change people's destiny. And I think that's why he's so excited about this particular program, because it really boils down all the things he has loved to do and puts them in one course. And this is just the foundational course. There's going to be more to come that you can take to the next level, but we'll start right here. So let's start by understanding what a timeline is. Your current timeline is your destiny. And destiny is time. Dr. Pillai has said, everyone has a destiny. Destiny starts at some point and reaches a destination, hence the word destiny. Destiny is your destination. If you want to break that pattern, break that destination, you would do techniques to stop that pattern, alter it, and jump timelines. So you probably feel like, oops, I skipped one. It's your current timeline, your destiny, that makes you feel stuck, right? Because every day you wake up into the same reality, and oftentimes we feel as though we can't get out of that reality, even though we have desires to have something else. And it feels like this continues, right? Because days become weeks, becomes years, and our kind of future unfolds. But really, the future doesn't exist, right? Like, the only moment right now is the present moment, and that's the power of really being a conscious human being. So it's from this moment you create your future timeline through every thought, every action, every emotion. That really excites me. The fact that we have the power, regardless of what has happened in the past, we own this moment. And to own your power in this moment and really take charge of your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. So timeline jumping techniques allow you to experience your true desires today by taking control of your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. And I'm going to teach you how that's done. So what is a timeline? A timeline is simply a potential destiny or destination. Most people are experiencing their probable timeline, the one they were born into, a timeline based on your karmic influences, such as your planetary positions, your ancestors, past life karmas if you believe in past life, and then the karmas that unfold in this life. So we have all of these influences that keep us stuck and keep us in our current destiny or timeline. However, it's not fixed. And that's what Dr. Pillai is all about, that it is here. He teaches us how we identify our timeline, but that we don't need to get stuck into it. So we can change it. We know that. Imagine just with me for a moment what your new timeline would look like. If it were really possible to experience an alternative reality, dream it up. What would you love to have? Would you love to have money no longer an issue? Would you love to be able to do only what you want to do and nothing else? Do you want to experience harmonious, loving relationships? What is it that your timeline looks like? Just take that moment and grasp onto that timeline. So it is all possible, all that dreaming that we just did, because when we learn about the truth of time and we understand it, we can rewrite that destiny to create that dream that you just really quickly imagined. So unfortunately, a lot of this information has never been taught before. Dr. Pillai is a pioneer in his area. Until now, he is releasing this information. Dr. Pillai's latest teachings reveal the exact knowledge required to make your mastery of time and ability to change your destiny a reality. Well, isn't that a relief? Giving you the ability to change the course of your life and experience that new reality we just dreamed up and live the life you desire today. So how does it work? We are going to get into that now. There are a number of steps that I will go through. Each area of understanding is broken down into easy-to-follow steps designed to guide you effortlessly to master time. I wouldn't actually say it's totally effortless because we are going to be putting consciousness, commitment, and attention on it. But once we do that, your timeline does unfold before you. We will be demonstrating this in a very practical manner. I'm going to walk you through exactly what it is we need to learn. So let's get started to explore these 5 steps. 5 steps to a new destiny. So I mentioned we'd be understanding the planets and their influence on us. We'll be creating our day. We will accelerate time and learn about the archetype of time. We will be breaking the habits, or learning how to break the habits that feed your current timeline. And learn how to be conscious, be in the now, and how it can really transform our lives. So the first step, or the first teaching, is planetary influence. If you've been studying with Dr. Pillai, you know that he has been talking about this quite a bit. In fact, he has a sister company, or Pillai Center has a sister company, AstroVed, and who specializes in astrology. But something you can start doing right now is learning about the principles of the planets and how they are impacting you in this very moment. I like this little title, Please Your Planets. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So planets have content. Dr. Pillai has said this. And when we are kind of influenced by them, we receive their content or their characteristics, their time energies. They're celestial beings that impact us all the time. There's planets, there's stars, there's moon phases, and that energy is coming towards us and kind of infiltrating our consciousness and having us act certain ways or think certain ways. The really cool thing about that is that when we learn about what the characteristics of the planets are, we can use them in our advantage, right? So let's say there's a star that is kind of harsh. The energy is maybe a little harsh. But we know that that energy is good for breaking through obstacles. It may not be good for starting a new business, right? So if you try to start a new business on a day where a star was influencing you, you wouldn't be successful. But if you knew that that star would help you to break down some stuck obstacles in your life, then you'd be able to be working with the energies and the influences of the day to your advantage, to make the most of what we have in this playing field of all these energetic influences. So today I'm going to focus just on the planets and not on the stars and the moon. But if you have been around Dr. Pillai for some time, you're probably somewhat familiar with that concept. And that is covered in the online course. So let's move on to our I'm sorry guys, there was supposed to be a slide in here that had, oh, there it is. Okay, so let's start with the day. Your day is influenced by the ruling planet. And on this chart, it says what day it is, what the planet is that rules it, and the characteristics that that planet exudes, right? It's like their personality. So today is Thursday as I'm doing this live, and we get the blessings of Jupiter. We have Jupiter represents wisdom, teaching, learning, optimism, abundance, anything that you want help in kind of facilitating that type of thing. That's what you would use Thursdays for, to help facilitate your energy in a most conducive or flowing way that doesn't go against the grain, right? You also want to take note how these days impact you personally. So every day could be different. Some people have hard Mondays because the moon represents the mind, and if the mind kind of gets convoluted by the moon's energy, we can feel like we have rough days. And probably if you've heard people complain about it's Monday, maybe it's because it's the first day of the work week, maybe it's because the moon is ruling, right? And then Friday, people are happy. Maybe it's because it's the last day of the work week, but maybe it's because it's Venus, and Venus loves luxury and romance and sensual pleasures and having fun, right? So the energies are conducive to the planets ruling that day. And so when you know this, you're able to schedule out your week and the daily activities you want to do for that day in a way that facilitates and goes with the flow of the energy of that planet. Okay, that's a really important point. You want to plan your week and so that the activities of the day fall upon the planets or use the energy of the planets that facilitate that activity. Like I said, sometimes it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's collective. For example, Sundays are really good for me because I have where my sun is placed. So I have really productive and really energetic Sundays. So take a look at how it all works out for you when you begin to notice and chart this out. Tuesdays, Mars is a very active, action-oriented. But the flip side of it is it can be a little aggressive, and it can also be, it's a warrior planet. So you may want to stay away from activities where you're prone to get into an argument, right? If you're meeting up with an ex or you're going into negotiations for something, try not to do it on a Tuesday, for example, right? Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. Mercury gives us money and intelligence. So it gives us these energies. We want to be able to use that energy of Wednesday to facilitate maybe new banking or something like that, right? Saturn is generally harsh energy in terms of it doesn't help us to move forward in a way that our forward movement is very slow, let's say, when we use Saturn. And so just be careful when you do things on Saturdays. Maybe Saturday is like your day off, in which case a lot of times it is. So that's a good thing. So I'm going to move backwards for a moment in the slides to go to the hourly. So we did our planetary influences of the day. Now, Dr. Pillai teaches, once you have that covered and you memorize that chart, you want to become aware of the hourly influences. Those same planets will rule hours within the day, right? So you're going to learn about the planets once, and then you're going to apply it to your days and then also your hours. So every hour is ruled by a planet. You want to find the planet that is ruled by that hour and plan your activities around it to support the characteristics of that planet. For example, Jupiter, blessings, wisdom, teaching, optimism. An action you want to do during that hour would be reading, learning, teaching, anything you want positive reinforcement for. Oh, I'm being told you guys can't see my slideshow. Oh my goodness. That's horrible. I worked so hard on it. Okay, let me see if I can do anything differently about that. Can you see anything different now, Rama? Oh, there's a 15-second delay, so I forgot about that. Looks like we're making some headway in the movement of the slides. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a disappointment because I won't be able to show you the way they were designed to be shown. But I think you can see it now. Okay, so I think we're good. Gosh, I'm really sorry, guys. I've been talking for 20 minutes and you didn't see anything I was talking about. That's a bummer. Okay. All right, it's working. Yeah, so unfortunately you get to see like the surrounding of this, which was not the plan. It was a more elegant plan. So we'll just flow with what we have. So the hourly planetary influences, I was just talking about that. So this is a slide you didn't get to see that I was on just a moment ago, and now I want you to see it because it's really important. This is the breakdown of your day, your planet, your characteristic, and the mantra. And the mantra is really important. I didn't mention that before because what you're going to do in your practice with this is when you wake up in the morning, you want to acknowledge the planet that rules the day and say this mantra. If you can't remember the mantras, just say a prayer to the sun. Thank you, sun. Please bless me with your energy. But if you can remember this or print, we can send this slide to everyone, print this out, and you'll be able to reference it, and you can say, good morning, sun. Please bless me with your all your bright energy. Om Suryaya Namaha. And then on Monday, dear moon, please bless me with clarity of mind and receptivity. Om Chandraya Namaha. So you get the point on how we're moving through this this chart here. So let's see, what else did you miss? Okay, so we'll just back up for a moment. Okay, steps of planetary influence. Here are the planets. Please your planets, and that's what we're doing. We talked about hourly planetary influences, and we talked about daily planetary influences. So now you want to know, how the heck do I figure out what the hourly planetary influences are? Well, we have some tools. Astroved.com is an amazing resource for this. This little inset here where it says good and bad timings, you can find that on the homepage of astroved.com. Go there. I think you have to create a login to be able to set your location, and you'll have this free every day. And it'll tell you what hour or hora it is. It'll tell you the star of the day, the moon phase of the day. It'll give you do's and don'ts. And this is just perfect. So if you want something a little more in-depth, you would download the apps. Right now, I believe they're only on Android. iPhone is getting updated shortly. So you have two apps available, the Hora Watch, if you just type that into your search when you look for it on the App Store, and Pachang 5 Elements. The Hora Watch you'll be able to see the horas change, see when they change, and get an alert. I love this thing because it alerts me every hour or so whenever the planets shift, and then I can, and it says a mantra. So it gives me the opportunity to stay alert, praise this planet, and ask the planet to give me the blessings. And then the 5 Elements app gives you more details of what's good to do on this day regarding the influences of these 5 elements. We're not, like I said, going to get into the 5 elements. A little down here, there's the, on astroved.com, there's a planetary watch report. If you don't have an app, you can go to this report and you can get information on what hours are, horas are happening, meaning what planets are ruling that hour, and I believe you can print that out. So these are your resources for determining how and determining your planets of the day. Okay, so step 2 in our 5-step plan here is how to manage your time and bring awareness into everything it is that you do. And what that looks like is creating your day, not just letting your day happen to you. So there are a few tips that I am putting in here on what you would do to create a successful day. First, set daily goals. What is it that you want to accomplish today? Schedule your day in advance. Don't let the day happen to you. I am really good at letting the day happen to me. So it takes effort, it takes consciousness, it takes awareness to schedule out the day. I like to do it the night before so that when I wake up, I'm not figuring out what the heck I have to do today. I have it all laid down on a piece of paper or in my calendar that tells me, kind of like a dummy, like, okay, go here and look at this. You already figured it out, and then you can go through it. What's really great about the techniques we just learned about planetary influences and creating your day is that they fit together perfectly. And this is a unique teaching that I think I've never heard of it from anyone else before that Dr. Pillai teaches. You look at the planetary influences of the day and the hour. Remember, we just figured out how to know what hour is ruled by what planet and what energies facilitate during that hour. Now you schedule your day into that. So guess what? If it's Jupiter Hora, I'm going to be able to write content or do a seminar teaching or learn something. And if it's Saturn Hora, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go have lunch. I'm going to go for a jog, right? I'm going to do something that isn't dependent upon a successful outcome, let's say, right? And if it's Mercury Hora or Mercury Hour, I'm going to balance my checkbook, or I'm going to look up my online savings account or switch things around, something that facilitates money. You see where I'm going with this? We can schedule our day so that we're always being successful inside of the planetary influence that is ruling us, that is kind of laying its energy over top of us. Before we get to the next slide. So some tips and tricks that I figured out along the way. One is write out the hours and planets in a journal the night before. So we figured out how to do it, right? So what I've been doing is setting out my day, where I'll say like sunrise or whenever I get up, and then my work day, and then if I know, just like what I mentioned, if I know that I have certain meetings, I'll try to put them in horas or hours that are influenced by something like the positive outcome, like Mercury, like Jupiter. If I want to get some kind of breakthrough and get some activity done on maybe a stagnant project, I should do it during Mars Hora, because Mars gives me that impactful energy, that motivation, that drive. So write it out in your journal. Get some sort of journal. I have one that's just plain, lined paper, but in the program itself, if you end up joining the program, there's an amazing workbook that was created, and you can download it and print it out, and it has all of that laid out for you. The hours, you just have to put what time of that day, and then you can track your goals for the day and influences and how you feel and what you're going to get done. So that's the tip, is make sure you do it the night before. And then when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, acknowledge the planet. You can remember 7 planets, right? That doesn't, you can get that chart and just memorize them. Even, like I said, even if you don't know the mantra, before you get out of bed, acknowledge the planet and ask for those blessings. Okay, step 3, accelerating time. Isn't that the wish that we all have? If I could just have, that $100,000 I'm going to make over the next, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, whatever it's going to take, what if I could have that now? So Dr. Pillai teaches that, the quote here, I'm going to teach how to get the future into the present. He loves this concept. He talks about it all the time. And one of the tricks to tapping into this is to access an archetype. So what's an archetype? Archetypes, and there's many of them, are expressions of super intelligence, intelligence beyond what we can know. And it's represented in both our modern world and pre-modern cultures, been around for centuries. There is a particular archetype who controls time. And it's possible to actually harness this energy to jump our timeline. Who is this mysterious being, you must be asking? Kalabhairava. Some of you already know Dr. Pillai has been teaching about him for quite some time. Kalabhairava is the god of time. He's the archetype of time. And what you want to do with Kalabhairava is build a relationship. He will help you bypass slow time, bypass linear time, bypass waiting. He literally is timeless. He doesn't know time because he's the god of time. So he can go beyond it at any time. So, and the beautiful thing about him is that he's accessible to us. So as a divine being, as this energetic being, what you want to do is build a relationship so that he lets you in on his secrets. The more you become in tune with his energies, the more you vibrate with his vibration, you too will be able to bypass slow time. Dr. Pillai is very much into building relationships with gods and goddesses. He talks about it quite often. So if you are committed to bypassing slow time, Kalabhairava is the god you want to connect with. And there's a whole course that can be done on how you build a relationship with a divine being. So just quickly, the real simple answer to that is a relationship takes something on your part, right? It's like having a relationship with a person. You create a relationship with Kalabhairava just like you would a human being. Call their name, learn about them, talk to them, ask them to talk to you. Do some research on Kalabhairava online. Find out what he likes. Find out more. Find pictures and look at him. Analyze it. Fall in love. Really, you want to get entrenched in the energies of Kalabhairava. Okay, so that's your key to bypassing slow time. Tapping into Kalabhairava. And just his name is a mantra. You can say his name over and over and just call upon him. Om Kalabhairava Namaha. You don't even need the Om and the Namaha. You can just say Kalabhairava. Okay, so that's bypassing slow time. Step 4, breaking habits. So our lives are filled with recurring thoughts and actions which inevitably become recurring practices we call habits, right? We're all very much in tune with having a life filled with habits. Some of them we consider good, some of them we consider bad. When they're bad, we often feel stuck. So these can be thought processes that play out in our relationships. They play out in how we think of ourselves and others. These habits, they start to define how we see the world. I think of them as filters too, like we're no longer a pure being. We're no longer open to anything because we have these constructs that keep us kind of stuck. Dr. Pillai calls them feeders to your current timeline, which I thought was just brilliant. Like, it's feeding my timeline. It's giving energy to my timeline, the timeline that I don't want anymore, or that I said I don't want anymore, but I'm feeding it like a baby, and it's growing and it's gaining momentum. So what you have to do at that point, if you want to deconstruct or shift timelines, you have to stop feeding that timeline with so much energy and input. So that means these habits will continue to feed your timeline and make it harder to jump. Breaking these habits or feeders will help you more easily move into a new timeline. What you can do is identify these feeders, identify these habits. How do you do that? Take note when you're unhappy, and track that emotion to what's happening. So how you react and see where you are being responsible for your actions and identify the feeder. So for example, a feeder is a feeling like you aren't responsible for every aspect of your life. So we can call that being a victim, right? So let's say one of the feeders is being a victim. How do you know that you're a victim? It's because you feel like you don't have control over your life. I think I have that on the next slide. Okay, so our timelines are created by identifiable feeders which can diffuse which we can diffuse in order to eliminate their influence on us. So as an example, I feel like a victim. What is a victim? Right? Being a victim. Being a victim is when you're not being responsible for your life. You're not being responsible for your circumstances. You're placing blame on others, and you're feeling helpless. If those things arise in your thought processes, like if you blame anyone for anything, you're pretty much being a victim, right? So that's how you identify that the feeder is there. And this is a big one. I mean, everyone that I know of has this to a degree. But when you work on it, you can chip away at it. And that's the whole point of identifying the feeder and dissipating it, letting it go so that you can more easily jump your timeline. So being a victim. Take a moment and just think about how in your life you've played the victim. He or she did this to me. They didn't do anything to you. You let it happen. Regardless of how deep we want to go in the responsibility levels in the field of the universe, you incarnated into this world and you took a body. And when you took that body, you took responsibility for actions and things that would happen along the way. Right? So if we go back that far and we say, oh, yeah, well then, if you look at it that way, I'm responsible for everything. Regardless of whether it was your fault, maybe someone hit you in a car and it wasn't your fault, but you got in the car that day and you drove down the street, right? You were in the place where that accident took place. So this is a touchy subject because many times that victim monster will come out and say, no, 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 he hit my car. So we have to be really creative and really open in our approach to taking full responsibility for what it is we've created and how we've stepped in to our lives. And the more we step into that field of responsibility, the less we will be a victim. The less we're a victim, the less we're feeding that into this current timeline, and the faster we can shift into something new. Now, this is just one example of a feeder. Dr. Pillai gives 8 in the program that we go through in detail, and he also provides these deep meditations, process meditations, that unravel the feeders at a very deep and unconscious level, which is really fantastic. So if you join the program, you'll have access to all that. If you don't join the program, all you need to do is start by identifying your feeders, okay, and unraveling them by becoming aware of them. So what's next? Being in the now. We've heard this term many times, haven't we? And what does it really mean? I mean, are we in the now? Are we not in the now? What is the now? In this case, being in the now means being consciously aware of your thoughts, your time, and your actions. Dr. Pillai talks about this by bringing your consciousness into this moment, not living in the past by recurring thoughts of memories and holding on to past issues, not projecting ourselves into the future or actually predetermining how long something's going to take, but by being conscious. So we can do that right now. Like if we all took a few seconds, we're like, okay, I'm in the now, do a little meditation, and we're here. We're pretty much here, unless you're thinking about the laundry you have to do later. Come back to the now. So we're here at this moment now, but what happens after this webinar? What happens when you go back to your life and the day is happening again, right? So a technique for you to bring you into the now is to set reminders. I will not remember anything unless I remind myself somehow. It's a human brain. That's what it is, right? So alarms, calendar notices, beeping watches, Post-its on your mirrors, you know, in your car, whatever it takes, having a friend contact you, whatever it takes to keep you aware throughout the day. And so maybe you start by maybe once a day you become aware and you stop and you're in the moment and you breathe deeply and you reflect on what you want and you create that new timeline that we very briefly designed in the beginning of this webinar, right? And maybe that gets up to 5 times a day and 10 and 20. Before you know it, every hour, every half hour, every 15 minutes, you're bringing yourself back into the now. Every time you do that, you supercharge your intelligence. you supercharge your ability to be silent and to manifest, right? So what I want you to do is when you're able to stop and be in the moment, take about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever you have to spare, focus on your third eye or your midbrain and visualize that new timeline. Empower that new timeline. Okay, so that's how you're going to put being in the now into practice in a very practical, busy life. So these are practical steps that can really alter your experience of your current reality. And I really encourage you to give them a try. I hope you can see that these teachings are incredible, even though they may seem very simple. When you put them into practice, they are profound and they will make changes. These core teachings form the basis of time mastery and your ability to jump to alternate timelines. I want you to practice these every day. That's the assignment when you leave this, to practice these every single day and see what happens. Can you see how these teachings can really make a difference in your life if you practice them every single day? Right? We went through them, and I hope you're taking notes and able to put them into place when we leave here. I can tell you, you will be amazed at the difference that you see. Even, I am not the perfect student, even though I've been around Dr. Pillai for many years. But the more I practice these simple, what seem like simple techniques, I can see things changing for me. And this program in particular is very hands-on with Dr. Pillai. And normally he will, like in other programs, he'll give meditation techniques, and you do the meditation technique, and that's your practice. But with this one, it is really about consciously being aware and putting the practice into your life, infusing it into actions that we take. And that's where we're making the difference. That's where we're going to be able to make the jumps. So commitment is key. We've learned these 5 core techniques for implementing timeline jumping in our lives today. Sometimes, unfortunately, when we get back to our everyday life, we have a little bit of trouble keeping them into practice. So that is why Dr. Pillai created the timeline jumping program. Before I'm going to be taking Q&A with everything we covered at the end, so don't worry. But before that, I want to tell you a bit about the program that Dr. Pillai created. Because he knows we have trouble keeping our awareness and our commitment to the practice. And this is really our number one feedback from folks who are in programs. How it all sounds really good, and now what do I do? How do I keep that momentum? How do I actually just start doing it? This program has taken it to a new level in our ability to provide support and facilitate that change. Of course, we can't come home with you and make it happen, but providing everything from an app that gives you a vocal reminder to downloadable worksheets, if you fill them out every day, to keep you on track. So what is this program? Dr. Pillai, as I mentioned, has been working on this program for months. He really has been committed for all of 2014 to timeline jumping. It is in his consciousness, it is what he does, it is what he talks about. So I like the idea of riding that wave with him. When he is immersed in teaching, the empowerment around that teaching is that much higher. We're literally receiving the transmission from him. And just because this program has been released, don't get me wrong, he is still on fire about it. In fact, he will be doing a New York seminar in September all about timeline jumping. So an in-person seminar, which he has not done in quite some time, especially in the United States. So his energy is definitely still aligned with this program. So here's an overview of all the stuff in the program. There's 5 modules. There was 8 weeks of teacher calls. We had one last weekend, but if you join the program now, there will be 7 more weeks of teaching calls to guide you through. There's over an hour of video with Dr. Pillai, which introduces the foundational teachings. There's 3 core meditation practices. There's 7 mantras. There's 4 text companions. There's a huge list of things. But what's amazing about this program is, I think it's the energy. I think it's the kind of audacious goal that you're going to change your timeline. And it can be anything that you want. You know, we're not focused on money, we're not focused on health, we're not focused on anything in particular. You get to focus on whatever you want to change, and the program works for you to move you in that direction, for you to jump your current destiny and change into your new timeline. So for Module 1, I just want to give you some details of what you can look forward to in this program. We broke it into 5 modules so that we can take the teachings that Dr. Pillai put out and really break it into bite-sized kind of chunks and walk you through it for a longer period of time. That's why there's 8 weeks of calls, because we could have done it in 4 weeks, which we were actually going to do, and I decided, no, let's give them more because it will help them to keep this on track, and that's really our goal, is to help facilitate you changing your life. That's the goal. And the monetary exchange is something that helps both parties to facilitate this goal and making this commitment. Really, the financial exchange is the commitment on your part. Of course, if you don't join the program, you've gotten lots of free stuff here today that you can use and start implementing right away. So as I mentioned, there's a over an hour video with Dr. Pillai delivering the foundational teachings. You get the audio download of that too, because we encourage you to re-listen to that as much as you possibly can. There's daily meditations. There's several of them, and let me tell you why. There's a 20-minute core meditation, and that includes the exercise on feeders. We call it the process meditation, where he goes through 8 of these feeders and does a meditation to unravel them in your consciousness. Unravel them at a deep level so that you can start feeling relief from the constraints of these feeders. And again, there's 8. There's lots of feeders in the world, but Dr. Pillai identified these first 8 to be used in this program. So that's the 20-minute meditation you want to do every day if possible. Then, we've often heard from people, well, I don't maybe have 20 minutes every day. Okay, do you have 5? We condensed the meditation into an on-the-go meditation where on your lunch break or whenever you can, sit for 5 minutes and be absorbed in Dr. Pillai's voice, his empowerment, and his destiny-changing meditations. The 1-minute meditation, I love it because it goes right along with being in the now. You're able to stop for that moment we mentioned just before and do this 1-minute meditation. You can even do it in 30 seconds, but it uses energy and breath to focus and release and brings together aspects of the archetype of time, called Bhairava, and energy through your body. Then there's these 4 text companions. We have the daily practice guide, the transcript of all the teachings, a workbook on your feeders. So not only are you going to learn what the feeders are and do the meditations, but there's a workbook where you can work out more mentally how they're affecting you and write it out. And you can revisit this workbook, kind of update it as you go and as you're able to overcome these feeders more and more. There's an outline Dr. Pillai wrote, and it's in his personal notes of the whole program. So that's Module 1. We kind of throw the whole kit and caboodle at you in Module 1, and then we break it down so that we can have more time with you. So we can have more time with you over the 8-week period. So within Module 1, there's also all these tracks, these meditation tracks, mantra tracks, I should say. So there's a very unique, powerful Kalabhairava mantra to transcend time. There's the mantra to activate the midbrain, the mantra for bliss and prosperity. There's a mantra to awaken your super intelligence. There is 2 different mantras to access super intelligence and healing the body, mind and body infused with light. There's a mantra for healing and letting go of destructive habits. So lots of mantras, loops that you get to practice throughout the day. I like to just use mantra loops to fill the space, like where I can be working or doing something and just letting them play. So module 2, we get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, what is it that you want to create? Okay, let's take some time in the program. This is what we do. Let's take some time to set your goals. We go through a goal-setting exercise. We give you tips for setting goals. And then there's the meditation for remaining alert. In Module 3, we go into depth with time management. Now, I just touched upon the planets, as you saw, right? But there is a world to know about time energies. We focus in on the planets, the stars, or nakshatras they're sometimes called, and the moon phases. Like that little chart that I gave you, there are charts for the stars and the moons so that you have it all at your fingertips of how these energies can impact you and what you need to know every single day when you wake up and here's an influence of these 3 different celestial beings. How do I plan out and chart my day so that I'm not in the way of them, but I'm actually going in the flow with them? Okay, that in and of itself is like an art, I swear. There's a lot we can do, and literally the time energies, the horas, and all these celestial beings, we could spend 6 months on them. In fact, I was in a course with Dr. Pillai many years ago, and it was, I think, a year-long course, and for a good 6 months we went into detail about these different time energies. So we will be spending a couple weeks on the live calls just delving into this and answering any questions that you have about it. So what's next? Module 4, disrupting your feeders. So I mentioned before the process meditation, deeply releasing these habits and fears and feeders of the current timeline. The 8 identified feeders by Dr. Pillai. A process meditation workbook, I already mentioned that, where you'll be able to work through more of how these feeders are impacting you. Module 5, after you get loaded with all this great information, we're going to help you put it into practice and take out all the guesswork of what it is you have to do. Because it is a lot of information, and a bunch of us went through this course already, and the great thing about having gone through it is we learned what people would need. What other supportive information and tools do people need to actually get through all of this and really incorporate this into your life. So good thing for you, you don't have to be those guinea pigs. We already were. And now we've laid the foundation for a solid program that helps create support for how you'll be able to do this. One of the really great things is this daily planner. Here's a picture of it. You probably can't see the details, but there's the day, and you get to put in like the star, the moon phase, and then there's the horas, or the hours, are all listed there, and you write in the times, and then you can put your tasks that you want to do. Dr. Pillai has also told us to track the emotions that we feel and get triggered during particular hours that are ruled by particular planets, so that we can see patterns. Because once we recognize these patterns, then we may need to avoid certain things. If I know I'm an angry person during Mars Hora, then I don't want to be with anyone during Mars Hora, right? Or if I know I'm mopey and weepy during Moon Hora, then I should probably not be around anyone either, right? But if I am productive and effective during Sun Hora or Jupiter Hora, then I want to know, because everyone's different. That's where tracking our emotions allow us to kind of customize how these planetary influences are affecting our life. Okay, so I love this book. It was put together by someone in the program who took the teachings and she just took the initiative to do this on her own, and it's a great thing. You do it the night before, ideally, and then, like I said, you wake up and your day is set for you. It never goes as planned, but that's okay. At least you gave it a shot, and for the most part, you can hit some of the marks. One of the other things Dr. Pillai has mentioned is really setting a big goal for yourself. And by tracking your time and setting your daily goals, you can work towards those bigger goals and recreating the timeline that you're currently in. So I mentioned that we have all this support for the program because we've been through it and we know what it takes. And I can tell you the amazing people who are part of this program who support you. Sarah Burns, many of you know from other programs, Maria from the office, caring, loving people. Marie Ott, or Ronnie, as you know her, some of you know her. These people love and support the people in our programs like I have never seen, and it's so incredibly and it's very touching. The Pillai Center teachers really go in there, and we pull up our our pants and do what we need to do because we've been blessed by being around Dr. Pillai for so many years, and now we're able to give back, and it's such an honor to be able to do that. And there's many of them, of us, myself, or Venkatesh, or Vince, Sucharita. It's to be able to be part of programs like this is really an honor. So it was 8, now it's 7 live teaching calls every week. So if you have any questions about the program, because to a lot of you this may be new information, and it's going to be something that you may be slow to grasp, and that's fine, and that's why I extended the teaching calls to 8 calls instead of 4, which we originally were going to do, so that we can have even more support for everybody. So you have an exclusive membership website where all the good information that I just mentioned is housed. You have lifetime access to it. It never goes away. You can download all the audios and all the tools like the workbooks on your computer, take them with you wherever you want. The only thing you can't download is the video. Everything else is, you can download and take home with you. And of course then just access the program or the online website whenever you want for the rest of your life. There's also a place in there for comments and sharing amongst the community, and a lot of times people start talking and sharing their experiences and able to get advice from others, which is really nice. So on that note, I invite you to begin this journey to mastery of time today with Dr. Pillai. The first teaching call, the call last week was an introduction to the website, so you didn't miss the actual teachings. There was an introduction to the website and then getting started by watching the first video. So you didn't miss anything in essence in terms of you can't catch up. The first teaching call with Venkatesh is going to be this weekend, Saturday, August 2nd, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And if you register by then, you'll get in and you'll be able to get started with these calls and with this program. So the price of the program was $500. We actually released it to the public. We started promoting it. People started buying it. And then Dr. Pillai called me and he said, "How much is the program?" Because I wrote him and let him know everything is happening. And he called me and he said, "How much is the program?" $500. No. I want more people need to be able to buy it. Not everyone can spend $500. He said make it $300. He didn't want to lower it too much because it's really valuable teachings, and he didn't want to kind of discount it in a way that didn't give honor to the teachings that are in there and the work that everyone does to support and create what's been created, including his time and energy into this fabulous site and information that's been provided. So he lowered it to $300, $297, which is what it is right now. And it makes me really happy that we're able to do that, and we did reduce the price so that more people can take advantage. Like I said, if you register before Saturday, you'll get started on the teaching calls and take advantage of those teachers. There's open Q&A at the end of every single call. Anything that you have, your question can get answered. And what's also great about the teaching call is that the teacher goes into more depth and kind of talks through the teachings that have been provided. Something new that we just started with this program, kind of taking the teachings to a deeper level. And a lot of times Dr. Pillai, because he's super intelligent and beyond my mental ability to know what he thinks and does, but I can take what he says and I can translate it into my human speak, which is sometimes helpful for other humans on my level to help and kind of bring it to a place where we can talk about it and understand it in a way that we can relate. And that's what happens on these teachings calls too. So that is really magical. Plus we meditate together, so we're empowering our energy and empowering our experience in the meditation with one another. So if that wasn't enough, Dr. Pillai is committed. He mentioned on the hangout we did a week or so ago that he is giving his personal commitment and personal guarantee to your transformation that if you do these teachings, you will see a change. Okay? But that's your part too. He's committing that his part works. He's committing that if you do the teachings, your life will significantly change. And we even have a 14-day money-back guarantee that if for some reason you get into the program and you're like, this is junk, I want my money back, we will not ask you a question, we will give you your money back. So that is my webinar for today. I hope you all enjoyed it and got something out of it, even if you don't join the program, that you are able to take these 5 core teachings and implement them in your life right now. I will be taking questions, so if you have not already posted them to the chat on this main page, please do so now, and I will receive those questions from my wonderful assistant here who takes questions for me. Lovely picture of Dr. Pillai. So I'm just waiting to see if we have any questions. So what else? So one of the questions is, do I need to have any experience with Dr. Pillai's teachings in order to be in this program? In other words, is this a, can a beginner be in this program? The answer is yes. Anyone can be in this program. We understand that some of these concepts can seem a little bit overwhelming or like a lot of information, but that's when we would encourage you personally to take things as slow as you need to take them. Like I said, you have lifetime access to this website. It may take you 6 months to learn it all, and that's fine. Just don't stop. Just keep going, right? So none of this is so advanced that anyone from a basic level couldn't understand it. Everyone can get into this program and go through the course and learn it and be successful. Okay, another question. What is the overall goal of the program? Is it basically having you manifest what you want in your life now, and how does karma fit into that in terms of affecting what you are trying to manifest? Okay, so what is the overall goal of the program? Is it basically having you manifest whatever you want in your life now? Yes, that's exactly what the goal of the program. The goal of the program is to have you create a new timeline, right? Which means kind of recreate your whole life on all the levels that you want changed, and then implement that by breaking the constraints that you currently have. And those constraints are your habits. Those constraints are you're being confined by planetary influences that you're unaware of. Those constraints are not being present in the moment and letting things just happen. Those constraints are all the things we already spoke about. And those are your karma. So that stuff that happens every single day, that's your karma. And the third part of this question is, how does your karma fit into that in terms of affecting what you're trying to manifest? Your karma is playing into how you're manifesting right now because it's getting in the way. Otherwise, you already would have had what it is you wanted to desire. Or you already would have what you were desiring. So by doing these techniques, they are karma busting. They are contradicting your current circumstance, your current situation, your current karma, your current timeline. I hope that's clear. Rama, if you can make sure hopefully that person understands what this is all about. Yes, this is all about changing your destiny. Yes, this is about creating what you want now. And yes, everything we do is destructing the current karma, preventing you from creating what it is you want. Here's another one. After the program, do you have to keep working with the mantras till you've manifested what you want? Yeah, there's no after the program. The program goes as long as you want it to go. This is a lifestyle change, right? When you join this program and you learn these, you're in creating habits. You're creating a new way of living. And by creating this new way of living of awareness, you're breaking that past karma that you had. And by breaking that past karma that you had, you're able to jump timelines. So once you do it once, let's say, and create a new timeline, you just keep doing it, right? Because are we ever really done? Are we in our mansion with our sexy husband or wife and have the cars and we have the job and we have everything we want? Maybe. Well, maybe when we're there, you can pack up this program and never look back, which is great. But until then, on continuing to unravel your current destiny, to change it to a new timeline, these techniques are what's going to help you do that. I hope that was clear too. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, the bottom line is yes, you keep working with the mantras till you've manifested what you want. From another viewer, will there be a lot of repetition to Dr. Pillai's previous program, Divine Time Management? The repetition will be in the time energies because they don't change. For example, Mars is always going to represent forward movement and motivation and courage, right? So if you already know that, you are so far ahead of the game, and this program is going to go even more powerfully for you. So for the people who didn't take Divine Time Management, this program is going to start you from the foundational teachings of learning about the energies of time. And if you know that, oh God, that's even better, because there's so much more to this program that if you didn't have to worry about learning the time energies, that you'd be able to whiz through the other stuff like your goal setting, your meditations, your breaking through the feeders, you're putting your daily practice into place. So Grace, you're ahead of the game if you have been through Divine Time Management, and you will get a lot more out of this program. The only duplication is the actual information on the time energies, the planets, the stars, and the moons. Okay, so here it looks like a personal note from someone. I lost my job today during Sun Hora on Lord Jupiter's day, and I'm feeling awesome about changing my timeline. Bad jobs have been my habit, so I do believe my karma is changing just by enrolling. I agree. That sounds fantastic. So I do believe my karma is changing just by enrolling. What do you think? I think that sounds great. I lost my job many years ago right after returning from a naughty trip, and it was the best thing that happened to me. So don't be afraid of change. That's the thing. We often get stuck in our heads like, oh, I lost my job. What's going to happen now? It's that fear that keeps coming in. Deb, Gowrie, don't let that fear creep in. You are, like, take on that this is a new timeline for you. And I truly believe that registration is the first sign of commitment. Whenever I've put myself into a course, my change didn't happen when I did the course. Started happening when I registered, because that's when it clicked. That's when the commitment happened. Here's another statement, a question. I find it very stressful to observe Hora, moon phase, etc., and it triggers fear and worry when not being able to follow them. How to overcome? Don't worry about it. I am not good at doing it all the time. I just do my best. And that's all we can do. And when we continue to do our best, it's like a muscle. You're going to get stronger at it and stronger at it because it's going to be a new habit. But it's a good habit because it helps break our tendencies, our karmic tendencies. It's like, you can use the analogy of maybe I want to lose 20 pounds, but it's going to take me going to the gym every day for 6 months to do that. I shouldn't be fearful or anxious about what I have to do. I just do my best and the outcome will come, right? So Grace, if you can, let go of that worry. I hope you can see what I'm saying here. Like, you're creating the stress around observing the moon, the Hora, and the planet and that's only making it worse for you. I hope that's clear. So kind of going back to my first statement, if you just see it as what it is you do, what you can do, and keep moving on from there, keep strengthening the muscle, removing the anxiety around it. And I do want to acknowledge you that it can be feeling overwhelming. It can. And that's when I just say to myself, I'm going to do the best I can today. And that's going to have to be good enough. If I give the best I can, I can't beat myself up. Any other questions? I guess that maybe is all the questions we have. And that's the end of my slideshow. Give it another few minutes in case there's anyone else who is writing in. So thank you all so much for joining today. I'm really sorry that the slides weren't showing earlier on and I was just blabbing through them. We will be having a replay tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time if anyone wants to see the first part of it, or if there's any questions, please write to us, office@pillaicenter.com. Like I said, the next call is going to be on August 2nd, which is this Saturday. And as long as you register before then, you'll be able to get in on those great calls and our great support team who's really here for you 100%. And for those of you who won't be taking that journey in the program itself and want to use these 5 important tips and techniques, I wish you the best of luck with implementing them and really taking commitment to taking your life to the next level. Oh, looks like I got one more. If you forget to use the hora but do the other work, can you still succeed? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. If you forget to use the horas but do all the other work, can you succeed? Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Pillai confirmed this, because when we did this program, when we had the first group of people go through it, it was a learning process, and he has been very patient and generous and provides extra audios, teachings, which you will get inside of this program. There's bonus. I mean, I listed the stuff that's the core stuff, and there's all kinds of bonus things. There's bonus calls from the first time this course was taught last month, and there's bonus audios from Dr. Pillai. There's just all kinds of great stuff. So you just take the steps that you need. If you master one of them, great, and then you move on to the next. And that's why we elongated it to 8 weeks, so that we can help people move more slowly in making the habits of all these different aspects. And then another one says, how does the archetype of time work? It works how I mentioned, in terms of you will access that archetype through making a relationship, building a relationship with them. In the program itself, Dr. Pillai talks more about Kalabhairava and the archetype of time and gives that long mantra, not long, but it's not just his name. There's a few additional syllables to help you connect more deeply and accessing him throughout the day. So his energy is that he is beyond time, and when we connect with that, we, by a kind of vibrational element, start tuning in to what that is and how we take that on. We take on his energetic kind of overlay. I don't know if that answers the question. That's probably about as in-depth as I know how to answer the question, though. I'm sure there are scholars who can tell you about how Kalabhairava works, and I'm not one of those people. I just know how to connect with one of the archetypes and just make friends and then start learning from them and talk to them and go from there. So thank you all for joining. I am so happy that we were able to do this today. And again, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be repeating this tomorrow as well. So namaste. We hope to see you in the program. Otherwise, we hope that you are taking these teachings and timeline jumping like crazy. Till next time, namaste.